Who's actually going to get the most out of a high-end workstation like this? Who can safely walk away? And does the price make sense for the everyday professional? If you're still on the fence, you're not alone. The ThinkStation P8 sits in a price bracket that feels like it belongs only to big studios, yet a lot of freelancers and small shop engineers wonder if it's overkill. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes I'm going to walk through the real-world scenarios where this machine shines, where it falls short, and whether the headline numbers actually translate into day-to-day value. First, let's talk about the kind of workload that makes a Threadripper Pro worth considering. You're looking at a 16-core, 32-thread CPU that can push 4.5 GHz on boost. That's the kind of power you need when you're rendering a 4K animation in Blender, running large Monte Carlo simulations in engineering, or compiling massive codebases that would otherwise keep a typical desktop stuck at 100% for hours. If you're a video editor who only does 1080p cuts on Premiere, or a graphic designer who mainly works with 2D assets in Photoshop, you'll probably never tap more than a few cores, and the extra money you spend on this CPU will sit idle most of the time. On the flip side, if your day often includes multi-node CFD runs, AI model training, or you're a VFX artist juggling multiple layers of ray-traced effects, the raw core count and the Threadripper's huge cache can shave minutes, sometimes hours, off render times. In those contexts, the performance gain isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a real productivity booster that can translate into tighter deadlines and higher billable rates. Now, the ThinkStation isn't just a big box with a fancy chip. Lenovo's workstation lineup is known for its certified status, meaning the motherboard, GPU drivers, and BIOS are all tested against major ISV, independent software vendor, applications. For a pro who relies on Autodesk Maya or SolidWorks, that certification can spare you a lot of troubleshooting. The P8 comes with a 1TB NVMe SSD, so the operating system, programs, and active project files live on ultra-fast storage. In practice, I've seen users report project load times that drop from 40 to 50 seconds on a SATA drive to under 10 seconds on a high-end PCIe drive. If you routinely open 10+ GB scenes, that speed difference feels tangible. Memory is another practical point. The system ships with 32 GB of DDR5 RAM. For most 3D modeling or video editing pipelines, 32 GB is a comfortable sweet spot. You'll be able to have several applications open, a hefty timeline, and still keep the system responsive. However, the ThinkStation is built to support up to 1 TB of RAM. If you plan to run massive datasets, or you're a deep learning researcher feeding 3D tensors into a neural net, you'll eventually want to upgrade. The good news is that the workstation's DIMM slots are accessible without taking the whole chassis apart, but remember that DDR5 kits can be pricey, and you'll need to match the speed and timings for best stability. Graphics is where the hidden trade-off shows up. The spec sheet you're looking at doesn't list a dedicated GPU, which is intentional. Lenovo expects buyers to add their own workstation-grade card. That means you have to budget extra for a Quadro or Radeon Pro, depending on your software's GPU acceleration preferences. If you're hoping the base price includes a powerful RTX card, you'll be surprised. In my experience, pairing this system with a mid-range RTX 4070 can give you a balanced setup for both CPU-heavy simulations and GPU-accelerated rendering, but if you need a top-tier Quadro RTX 6000 for certified drivers, you're looking at an additional $1,500 to $2,000 on top of the workstation cost. Thermal performance is a real concern with a 16-core chip that can hold 4.5 GHz. Lenovo uses a custom liquid cooling solution on the P8, which keeps the CPU below 70 C under sustained loads. That means you won't hear the fan screaming after an hour of GPU rendering, and the system stays relatively quiet in a small office. The downside is that you're now dependent on a sealed cooling loop. Any failure could force a costly service call. For a business that can't afford downtime, the peace of mind comes from buying an extended warranty or a proactive maintenance plan, something you should factor into the total cost of ownership. Power draw is another point that often gets overlooked. At full load, the Threadripper Pro can consume upwards of 300 W, and when you add a high-end GPU, the whole chassis can easily exceed 600 W. The P8 includes a 1000W power supply, which gives headroom, but it also means you'll need a dedicated circuit in your workshop to avoid tripping breakers. I've seen DIY studios where the sudden surge when the system boots caused a whole room's lights to flicker, not a pleasant first impression. So, who should buy this? If you're a solo contractor who regularly delivers 4K VFX, performs complex engineering analyses, or runs AI workloads that truly benefit